Hello. And if you're thinking, what kind of weird clothing is this woman wearing? This is the Doc Society Documentary United scarf. So this is a solidarity movement. So my name is Yvette Alberdingk Thijm, and I'm here today as a very proud board member of Doc Society to pay, as Vince said, tribute to our friend, Doc Society's co-founder, a phenomenal human being and a visionary. She died of brain cancer on July 31st, the inimitable Jess Search. And I'm here with my colleague, Doc Society's board chair, Anurima Bhargava, also the executive producer of While We Watched, the last project that Jess poured her heart and soul into. And I think in the context of this gathering, I can't think of a more important documentary that speaks to the urgency of protecting independent journalism and its protagonists. In fact, as the legendary journalist Ravish Kumar, the protagonist of While We Watched, reflects, media is the biggest story in our democratic world now. The destruction of independent media is huge, and in the wake, the media remaining has become weaponized. There has been an outpouring of love in response to Jess's death, and there are many beautiful ways in which Jess and her impact on our world has been described. Visionary, charismatic, an industry trailblazer, a movement builder, a deep collaborator, funny, brilliant, authentic, courageous, disruptive, and absolutely fearless. And if you were lucky enough to have a conversation with her, as I know many of you have, you'll remember that conversation, and you'll remember it for the absolute attention she paid to you while she was talking to you. The person who Pat Mitchell, in her wonderful tribute to Jess, rightfully called a singularly effective force for good in the world. Jess co-founded Doc Society to bring together people to unleash the transformational power of independent film. If there ever was a doc you watched about social change, there will be some way that Doc Society has been involved in it. Citizen4, Writing with Fire, The Territory, Welcome to Chechnya, Fuck This Job, Knock Down the House. But the real magic is that it's not just the films and the stories. The powerful piece is the how. Doc Society is laser focused on two things that must happen. First, films need distribution and distribution networks. And that space, particularly right now, is shrinking for non-fiction documentaries, which is very counterintuitive, but a fact. To ensure that films have impact, they also must be supported by impact producers, particularly evidenced by the deep investment in what's called the Global Impact Producers Alliance, which is a powerful collective that's anchored within Doc Society. But let me correct myself. This is not a tribute. There's no way that Jess would allow that. She never ever wanted things to be about her. Vince actually framed it correctly on your agendas. Instead, what Jess left us with is a call to action, an urgent and collective call to action to triple down on the twin and connected threats, the climate emergency and the future of our democracies. There is no time like the present, in Jess's words. We're radically prioritizing the Climate Story Unit and the recently launched New Democracy Story Unit as our major organizational commitment and strategies. Doc Society is centering all we have learned in the past 2 decades to help address these two critical and obviously intertwined issues. And the basis for both units is the powerful conviction that visual media, investigative journalism, are the key tools to effect change. The Climate Story Unit, headed by the amazing Megha Sud, is already supported by several people in this room and was experimentally launched a few years ago to support transformative storytelling to advance a climate-just future. The unit has 3 parts. First, there's the Climate Story Labs, which is a series of locally organized gatherings that convene regional networks of practitioners. Think about movement leaders, scientists, political strategists to define new and elevate new narratives. 14 labs have been organized by local cultural allies, with new labs launching across the Middle East, West Africa, and Scandinavia. In fact, currently, as of today, there's a lab in the Peruvian Amazon organized by the Black and Indigenous Liberation Movement. And yes, we unabashedly prioritize stories that elevate the lived experiences of communities that have historically been ignored and misrepresented by the media. Stories that will seed norms, new norms, and sprout visions for a climate-safe world for us all. The second part of the unit is the Climate Story Fund. It's a standout opportunity in the field that supports stories and impact activities to shift the climate narrative and engage strategic audiences. Over 2 million has been granted to 29 grantees already, including, for example, Amy Westerveld's podcast called Drilled, and National Geographic's The Territory, which was co-produced by the Uriu-Wo-Wo indigenous community and helped to pass landmark EU legislation on deforestation-free supply chains. And the third part is what we like to call the Climate Story Kitchen, an experimental space to test and iterate new models for climate storytelling. So just imagine, that's the Climate Story unit. Doc Society will use the same proven and deeply partnered approach to the newly launched Democracy Story unit. So there's plenty to do. These units' foundations have been laid, the lessons have been learned, and in this urgent moment, the opportunity is now to answer Jess's call to action. For us, that means raising $5 million to support the story units in the next 2 years. We have wholeheartedly embraced Jess's challenge. When I say we, the Doc Society's leadership team, which is, by the way, a very strong flatocracy, it's 5 women and or queer-identified directors who share executive power, together with a very diverse global team and a global board. We've never been more certain of the way forward as a team, together with our global partners, ready to deliver vital, systems-changing, narrative change work. And that call includes you, this community. In fact, Jess aptly named all of us the lucky fuckers, as we are the people who are here left on this planet to protect it, to champion truth and justice through storytelling. It's a collective call to action because Jess and Doc Society, and this is what I personally admire most and respect enormously, are known for bringing people together. And it is that exact belief, that radical collaboration to get things done and a commitment to lifting up a whole community, it's that belief that sets Jess and Doc Society apart. As Jess herself put it to the funding community, comrades, we know that your work is as vital and urgent as our own. How about we triple down and build rocket boosters for our shared work together now? For 2 decades, Doc Society has been the power rocket fuel for filmmakers, never leaving impact to chance. Right now, we're positioned to increase our scale, our reach, and impact by radically taking on these twin threats of climate emergency and the future of democracy in deep collaboration with storytellers all over the world. Will you join us? Let's give Jess the last word. Skoll Foundation made a loving video compilation that's put together by them, and I'd like to leave you with. Thank you very much.
Where is everybody? Ah, there you are. Oh, now I see you. Is that pajamas? Looks like you're on the sofa, maybe with the dog, is that? I left the price tag on it because I felt like it's a sort of different economy with an Oxfam shop, and I thought you might have thought I was cheating, but you can see the label. But Winnie,
oh my God, I'm so touched.
Good morning. I love that woman. In fact, I'm going to let you in on a little secret, which is that earlier, Pat and I engaged in an epic arm wrestling competition. She's a tough competitor, and you know, we went best out of 3, but I won this year. It's funny, in the rehearsal yesterday, I was wearing a smart suit and you wearing denims. Yeah. We turned up today and we swapped the other way out. I have a real beginner's question. I'm sure you get asked this all the time, but I read that men are from Mars and women are from Venus. So I'm just wondering, is the plan to send the men home to Mars and we're going to go to Venus? Because I think it's a lot closer, right, Venus? So is that the plan? I am introducing to Skold this year a new, disruptive, high-tech innovation, the postcard. So I took the liberty of going on the internet to see if I could perhaps contribute something to your work. I mean, maybe you're not. Perhaps the panel can help me here by demonstrating a few of these possibilities. Be the Batman.
I'm definitely Batman.
And this is really strong, Wajah. So you're gonna enjoy that.
Oh, this is cool. You look great.
In the end, what would you gain from everlasting remembrance? Absolutely nothing. So what is left worth living for? Only this: justice in thought, goodness in action, speech that cannot deceive, and a disposition glad of whatever comes.